Hey everybody, and welcome back once again to the Statuesque Events YouTube channel. I am beyond excited that we're here again. And I'm excited about today's topic because it's something that I've specialized in a long time. If you've watched any of our YouTube videos, you already know that we always say we specialize in planning modern multicultural weddings. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? The rise of multicultural weddings and why that's so important these days, right? So before I go any further, let me just go ahead and introduce myself real quick. My name is Faye Shola. I am the owner of Statuesque Events. You can see Statuesque Events. We're a wedding planning and design company based in the DC metro area, but we do weddings all across the United States. Like we've done weddings as far up as Connecticut. We've done a couple weddings in Florida, everything in between. We love Texas, etc. We love planning modern multicultural weddings just about everywhere, right? In addition to that, I'm also a coach. I coach wedding and event planners. I also coach other business owners, but my flagship program is for wedding and event planners, and it's called Planners Who Profit. It's an accelerator program that helps experienced event planners get to that next level, start hitting those high-end or luxury clients, and basically helping you with the business side of how to attract and make more money in your business. So if you're interested in working with us in any capacity, either as your wedding planner or as your business coach, all that information is in the description box of how you can connect with us and how we can work more, right? Now, but for today, I'm really excited about talking about the rise of multicultural weddings, right? This is something that's exciting to me because, again, like I said, I've always done multicultural weddings. When we first started our business, we started with a specialty in Nigerian and West African events because I'm Nigerian, and I started my business shortly after winning a Nigerian beauty pageant. So fun facts, I'm actually a pageant queen. It's crazy. I'll put a picture of me at the pageant here, but right after winning that, I did this big service project for young Nigerian women who wanted to get into science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, because that's the path that I pursued at first. I went into engineering. And so I wanted to have this big scholarship ball, this big program, this ball to raise money. And I did. I gave out 2 scholarships, one to a high school student and one to a college student. And it was great, but when the event was over, I was like, man, I want to continue doing events. And I decided to start where I was, right? Started in my community, started with lots of Nigerian events, lots of West African events happening in New York because I lived in New York at the time. So I continued with focusing on West African events for a little while. But after a while, I started realizing that I personally always loved working with, multicultural and cross-cultural events, right? So I did a lot of fusion weddings, meaning one culture plus American. Right? So fusing, Western and another culture, whether it be African, whether it be Caribbean, etc. That was something that we did a lot of. And it's something that just got me excited. So now, like 11 years later, yes, we're continuing to specialize in multicultural weddings. But I would say that we really started specializing in cross-cultural weddings maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And that's something that has always gotten us, really excited. Now, when we first started doing the cross-cultural weddings, I remember so many people saying, oh, I love following your page because I've never seen like some of these cultures blend before, right? Like seeing a Jewish and Nigerian wedding or seeing an Ethiopian and a Pakistani wedding, right? And by the way, you can see more about those weddings on our YouTube channel. You can actually watch more there, but just seeing some of these just got people really excited, right? And then a little bit more recently, we did for instance, a Trini, so from Trinidad, and Salvadorian wedding, right? So it's Caribbean and South American. Like we love working on these fusion events. It's something that's gotten us excited. And by the way, we have a whole YouTube series, the Modern Multicultural Wedding Show. I'll go ahead and share it in the cards. So I'll share it in a card up here, but you can watch our series. And we also have another series, Multicultural Wedding Rewind, where we go back and we rewind back over some of our events. So you can literally see some of these, but it's something that we've always loved doing, and it's exciting, but it's also important, right? So I know that, for some people who are watching this, you might be in the wedding industry and you're like, how do I get into multicultural weddings? I feel like that's the wave. I need to get into it. I think it starts by just understanding why it's important, right? Why celebrating culture at events is important. I know that everybody wants to make money, but the easiest way to make money is to focus on where your passion is. And for us, our passion has always been, multicultural events and helping people to celebrate culture through weddings. So one of the reasons that I always get excited about doing multicultural and especially cross-cultural weddings is that the world is getting smaller, right? Like for this channel is primarily for those in the United States, it probably applies to Europe, etc. But the world is getting smaller and the US is a huge melting pot. So it's not unusual for two people of two completely different cultures from two completely different continents to fall in love and get married, right? It's not unusual, and it's really exciting to be able to celebrate that. And so that's something that gets me excited, and I think that as the world continues to get smaller, as catching flights, people continue to catch flights more and more often, people continue to just, expand our horizons, meet new people. Again, like I said, I used to live in New York, now living in DC. These are very big metropolises. Metropolises? Is that how you say it? Metropoli? I'm gonna Google that. But these are two really big cities, and multicultural weddings, I mean, it's just gonna happen, right? So it's something that's exciting. It's just exciting to just celebrate with our clients, right? Who are finding love and creating their own blended cultures and blended families. So that's something that's exciting to us. Now, the second reason that multicultural weddings are really important, and this is something I always say to my clients or even those who we have consultations with, is that weddings, for most cultures, weddings are the time that culture is celebrated the biggest and the loudest, right? As far as personal events. Um, of course, people infuse culture in other things, like when a child is born, there are a lot of cultures that have different kinds of ceremonies. In Africa, there are a lot of like naming ceremonies, there are dedication ceremonies that happen, after a baby is born. There are other times that people celebrate culture, like a funeral, right? Like those are important moments. But what I find is that the events that have the largest guest counts, right, and where people tend to celebrate their culture the loudest tends to be at a wedding. And that's part of the reason that even though someone may live in the US, someone may, for some people, they've never even visited the country that their parents were born in, or maybe they don't go often and all of that, but people still want to express and experience their culture in their wedding because this is like the big moment they've been waiting for, right? Outside of, again, as far as personal events, outside of like cultural parades and things like that, Independence Day celebrations. So those are like more public events. But as far as like personal, private celebrations, weddings tend to be the place that people celebrate culture the biggest and the loudest. And there's a lot that people want to put in there. So it is important to like honor people's culture, to understand why it's important, right? And if you're a bride watching this, yeah, it's important to know that, you're not weird or wrong for wanting certain things, for wanting to have your own foods, for wanting to have your own music, right? For wanting to celebrate your culture in a certain way. I mean, we did a wedding, it was actually an Ethiopian Pakistani wedding, where they didn't wear any Western attire. Even though it was a 3-day celebration, they had the henna night, which was Pakistani, they had the mels, which was Ethiopian, but even on the ceremony and reception day, they chose not to wear any Western attire. And when they got married, the bride was actually wearing traditional Ethiopian attire and the groom was wearing his Pakistani attire. And there's nothing wrong with that. It was actually beautiful. It was something that I loved watching, right? Like it was really cool to see them each in their own cultural attire. And then later on, they both changed into Pakistani attire. But it was just really cool, right? So there's nothing wrong with you wanting to do your own thing, wanting to express your culture, and wanting to do things a little outside of the box, as opposed to just following, the typical trends that we do, here in the US. So that's something that this again is something that we get really excited about helping our clients through when our clients tell us stuff. So for instance, the idea of wearing their cultural attire was their idea. It wasn't an idea that we gave them, but when they told us, they're like, what do you think? I was like, this is amazing. And I can't wait. Like, I can't wait to see it, because a lot of times with cross-cultural events, the bride is wearing, the bride and groom will each wear each other's attire at the same time, right? So at the Mels, they're both wearing Ethiopian. At the henna night, they're both wearing Pakistani. But it was really nice to actually see them wear their own culture while they were being joined as one, and it's really cool. So, that's just an example of a way that you can infuse your culture and do your own thing and why it's important, right? So, and then of course now multicultural weddings and celebrating cultures and all that stuff is becoming more popular, right? Like I know that a long time ago, a few people told me like, oh yeah, I don't see people, planning cross-cultural weddings the way you do. And like, you always have the flag in your post and it's so cool. These days, a lot more people are doing it. A lot more people are celebrating culture and that's really great, right? It's becoming more popular. It's becoming a norm, right? To put your culture front and center at your wedding. And personally, I love it, right? I think it's a great thing, obviously, since this is, what we specialize in. And I think that it's just important to know that. So if you're just starting planning out your wedding and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should just focus on American or if I should focus on traditional, you can do both, right? You can infuse both and just work with a planner who truly understands and has a track record of working with multicultural events. And that will work out for you. Obviously, you can consider us. This is what we do, but again, like that is super possible for you, and I want you to know that. So again, the reason that there's this rise of multicultural weddings and why celebrating culture at weddings is so important is, number one, the world is getting smaller, and so it's just going to keep happening more and more. Number two, weddings are the time that we have the biggest celebration of culture. A lot of times, it's the biggest personal celebration of culture happens generally at weddings, and then also it's just becoming popular. I know you're seeing it scrolling up and down on news feeds. You're seeing it more and more. So yeah, that's why all this is important. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. Don't forget, here on this channel, we've got lots of inspiration and we've also got information, that comes to you every week. So make sure you are subscribed. I don't want you to miss any videos, any of our fun, decor rewinds or culture rewinds, or our fun fact videos like this one. And also make sure you like this video, share it with someone who might find it helpful. And I can't wait to see you back here again in the next video. All right, ciao, and I'll catch you later.